all right, y'all. One second, starting. All right. Coming back. All right. Peace, family, and thank you all for tuning in. We have our special guest with us today, our brother Abdul Khadir Muhammad from Washington, D.C., Mosque number 4. Before we get into our brother's interview, as usually, you know what we do, we go over the announcements. So I want to go over these announcements and we'll be getting started. So just 1 second. Some little technical stuff. Right. Okay. All right. So you see who we have today. We have our brother Abdul Khadir Muhammad, and he will be our guest today on I Have a Testimony. We want to talk about, as we always do, why do we do these I Have a Testimonies? Here you see some words by the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, and this is from a letter that the minister wrote to the former president at that time, W. George Bush Jr. And the minister says, he says, I write you from my prison, a prison without bars that has been made for me because of the passion for truth and justice out of which I speak, and the propaganda that makes me appear to be as many as anti-white, anti-Christian, anti-Semitic, anti-gay. None of these names accurately describe who I am. I hope that you will open your heart to what I am writing, notwithstanding the prison from which I'm writing. So this is why we are doing this, brothers and sisters, because we believe that these testimonies that these witness bearers who are going to appear on this show give are helping to free the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan from these mental prisons that some people have him in. But we are thankful for the power of social media that we have been able to, that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is being able to be freed. So I'll go to our next slide. As you see that we've done a survey, and on this survey, 90% of the people said that these testimonies that you're about to watch is coming soon, that the testimonies have helped their faith and helped them as an individual believer. So you taking your time out to watch these testimonies, you're getting a great benefit from it as well, regardless of what your faith tradition may be. And also you see that 90% of the people said that these testimonies have helped them gain a better understanding of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And that's what we are striving for, because in having a better understanding of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, you and I would have a better understanding of ourselves, because the value that we see in the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is only a reflection of the value that Allah God sees in us. Here we see where some people have given testimonies and they're talking about how this testimony helped them. This person says, the testimonies have strengthened me even more in my faith and conviction. And no matter what is going on, I'm following the right man, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, and the Nation of Islam will live on. Also, they liked how many people who gave the testimonies, that they talked about their own struggles and how they were able to overcome those struggles. And all of us have our struggles. I'm not perfect. You know, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan talked about it recently on July the 4th. But all of us have our struggles, but that doesn't necessarily mean that we are bad people. It just means that we have some things that we have to work on. And we go forward here. So if you have the opportunity, we highly encourage you, brothers and sisters, to subscribe to our YouTube page, which is at Mosque number 46. And follow us on our Instagram page is at Mosque46 _ 46. There on the YouTube page, you can have access to our playlist that we're putting together, which is titled Farrakhan is not an anti-Semite, right? And it has all of the minister's words where he's talking about the stuff that the media doesn't put on because they want to keep people deaf, dumb, and blind. Also, we're in the process of building up a playlist dealing with the whole Malcolm X controversy. So you have access to all of this, and we're constantly uploading material and content on our YouTube page. So make sure you sign up for that as well. If you have anybody in your family who have been impacted by COVID or just need prayer, please submit their names, your names to us so we can add them to our prayer group so we can extend some prayers on their behalf. And we're in the process of trying to pay off our mortgage. We're trying to do a debt elimination of our mortgage. For those who are watching right now and who have been watching, if you could just give whatever you can give. We're trying to get 163 people to donate $1,000, but some people may not have the $1,000, but whatever it is in your heart to give, we will greatly appreciate it. So if you can go to Cash App right now, $Miles46 and give, we would appreciate it. And you can go to our NOINewOrleans.com website and give as well. So just heads up, inshallah, on next Sunday, we're going to have our sister Wendy Muhammad, who's going to be the next guest on I Have a Testimony. And then we have a special edition on this coming Tuesday with our General Counsel, Brother Abdul Arif Muhammad. We had a special, this will be this coming Tuesday at 7:30. So make sure that you tuned in. But today, the man of the hour, by Allah's grace, our brother, a hardworking soldier, an inspiration to me, is our brother. We have Brother Abdul Khadir Muhammad. And let me get ready to get our brother on. And we'll be starting shortly. Go. There we is. Assalamu alaikum, Brother Khadir.
Walaikum salam, Brother Willie.
Thank you, my brother, for this opportunity, man. We really, really appreciate it. And on the behalf of the believers here in Muhammad Mosque number 46, we thank you for all the work that you have done and are doing and will do in the Nation of Islam on the behalf of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. We really appreciate you, man.
Thank
you. So we'll get straight to it. So for the first question I would like to ask is, how did you first hear the teachings of the when did you first hear the teachings of the Most High Elijah Muhammad, and how did you end up becoming a member?
First of all, let me thank the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan for allowing me for these many years to work with him and to rebuild the Nation of Islam. Now, at this time, to continue. I first heard the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. I was 16 years old in the city of Plainfield, New Jersey. And we was young. I had a little group with me, my little brothers that I hung out with. And we all would try our best to give us time to understand the teachings. So around that same time, you could hear every Sunday on WLIB AM, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, at that time teaching from Muhammad Mosque number 7. Also in that same area, you heard about Islam almost on a daily basis. So Islam was very, very penetrating in that city and the surrounding cities of that area. So July 2nd, 1973 was the day I received my ex, and it's now been nearly 47 years or better. And today is the day for me to still be around and to help Minister Louis Farrakhan.
Praise be to Allah. And in preparation for this interview, I had the opportunity to speak with Brother Carlos from Baltimore. And I'll ask Brother Carlos, what do he thought some good topics that I can ask you? And as I develop questions. And one of the things he suggested, or one of the topics he suggested, was about our brother, may Allah be pleased with him, Minister James Shabazz. From my understanding, you came into the mosque under Minister James Shabazz. So what can you share about your memories regarding our brother?
Well, Brother Willie, it was a very short time that I was blessed to be near him or around him, because the year I came in was the time he lost his life. But very small occasions when we started the mosque in New Jersey on Catherine Street, I was blessed to be with him there. And at that time, the ministers up under him, they rotated from different cities to cover the whole northern New Jersey area, like Plainfield, New Jersey, Elizabeth, New Jersey, Patterson, New Jersey, Asbury Park, New Jersey, Jersey City, New Jersey, Passaic, New Jersey. We always had a rotation of ministers, so you can get them on a Wednesday, or Friday, and Sunday to hear the teachings. So that was a great time that I had spent with them. Also, I was blessed to take a bus ride to Chicago to see the Honorable Elijah Muhammad for his last sermon address. And I asked us back then if he had money to get on the bus, meet us at a certain time. I went and got my little cash, got on the bus, and was blessed to see the most Honorable Elijah Muhammad deliver his last address called the Last Sermon in 1974.
Wow, I didn't know that. So you were around to witness when the nation actually, when it fell. Like, what do you remember about that time?
Well, brother, that time was very, oh boy, it was really rough. Because people like myself that was young, we depended on to be stable with the Nation of Islam. We finally found something that could help us to change our lives. And myself, I was heavily on drugs back then, and doing things at an early age that I shouldn't have never been doing. But the nation just unraveled, and to see us take off all of our clothes, our bow ties and white shirts and suits, and the sisters, they just undressed. It was a big mess. A lot of the brothers and sisters back then went straight back to the streets. I can describe it like this. It's like taking a tea bag and putting it in hot water, and in a few minutes, the water just changed to whatever the color tea bag was. So within 2 weeks, wow, in New Jersey, a lot of the brothers and sisters fell out and they was back into the streets.
Wow, you said within a 2-week time frame?
Yes, sir. 2 weeks.
Wow.
I remember brothers that I knew who were lieutenants, and they were inspectors, and it shocked me at this place where they all would go at that time to be around the Muslims who actually turned their back on the nation. And that I never forget the time I went into this place called the Coronet, and that the brothers and the sisters were in there dancing. And I said, wow, this is how it's going to be. I didn't know what to expect. I was invited to go, and I went and I saw it, and it kind of messed me up inside. I had to walk about it and then say to myself, this is not what I expected. But it was a terrible time in my life. I had to go back to that which I came from, back to the streets.
And we know you're here now. We know that you had to be a helper of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan in the rebuilding. So how did you come to the decision to return and help the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan?
I had done a little time in jail, a little prison time, a little small amount of time. That allowed me to get settled again and to find myself. And when I came home, I was trying to be with the Sunnis, Bilalians, and all that stuff. Tried to wear a little beard, but it didn't work out too good. So when I moved to New Jersey, back from New York City, I lived with my brother for a period of time, and I came back to New York City. I had moved to East Orange, New Jersey, and I got a call from a brother. He said to me, brother, the Nation of Islam is back. And I asked him, what do you mean by that? He said, the brothers wear the bow ties, the white shirts. I asked him, where was the meeting being held? He gave me the address, and believe it or not, it was back in Plainfield, New Jersey, where I started at, but it was at brother Minister Abdul Kareem Muhammad's house. At that time, brother Newark, ex. So we went there, and I went there, and we began to formulate up under him what was needed to make a study group starting in East Orange, New Jersey, because at that time I had to catch a train to get there. I didn't have no car. So he gave me the wherewithal on how to make this happen, get set up. And the idea was, as I was told by, at that time, Brother Bernard Kushner, we met, we talked along with the minister. And at the same time, they both gave me instructions on how to start the group. And these are very, very simple steps. I was told to go find one just like yourself. About it, just like myself. And at that time, my name was Brother Anthony. So believe it or not, I found a brother named Anthony. You know, come inside, get off the streets. And what they did at that time, I was told, now you two go find one like yourself. So one was able to get one. Then the two of us got one. It was like 1, 2, 4, 8, 16. And before you know that, I was in my living room at my apartment. I had 61 people coming every Sunday to discuss the teachings.
Wow.
Almost every Sunday, or about maybe a year or two. Yes, sir.
Wow. That's something, man. And you mentioned a brother whose name I often hear, and I had the opportunity to meet him once. You said formerly Brother Linwood, but he's now Brother Abdul Kareem Muhammad.
Yes,
Can
sir.
you talk about his leadership and the impact?
Oh, brother is very, very impactful. Very, very serious man. And the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said he's the best regional minister that he has ever had, because he was the first one to stand up and protect the minister. In that area at that time was kind of off the chain a little bit, and people was hard to accept the work of us coming back again and to rebuild. So you had to have a man like Brother Abdul Kareem Muhammad, who did not play, very serious, but he loved all of us around him. He made him the minister at that time over Muhammad Mosque number 7. And from the East Coast, I would say from Rhode Island all the way down to Miami, Florida, at that time wasn't no 7 regions. So he traveled, he went around to check on places for the minister to get this East Coast back up and get it started. A very, very strong brother, helped us out tremendously in that area when we first began to rebuild the Nation of Islam.
Wow. And you mentioned about the beginning of the study group in East Orange. Can you talk about the beginning of the study group in Newark?
Well, what happened was I was doing very well in East Orange, and the Honorable Minister Farrakhan heard about it. He said, brother, go to Newark and take the place of the brother there and bring your group and meet with them and to get us moving up off the ground a lot better. And I did that. And it happened. We just kept growing. We met at the Hawthorne Avenue YMCA. We met, I would say, met on Broad Street at the Griffith building, big, huge building, but inside of the place was just a few of us. We had a spot on Rutgers Law Campus and the classroom, and that really helped out a lot. It was called the address, I called it 101 Washington Street. It's not there anymore because they renovated the area. And also we had places on 863 Broad Street. And believe it or not, we had a spot where there was 3 floors. And we just kept on growing and growing until we was able to get a place around the corner at 263 Halsey Street, and then around that corner at 312 Washington Street. That's where we had, at that time, our largest group growing to help the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. But back to beginning in Newark, New Jersey, we had to go to New York City whenever Brother Minister Abdul Kareem Muhammad called us to come over. We went to the South at the Parkside Plaza, I think it was a hotel or Parkside Plaza room, but we had to travel, pack up in about maybe 8 cars and drive over there and sit with him in the meetings and come back home to our homes. And at that time, he had got a mosque in Brooklyn, New York, that was on Eastern Parkway and Flatbush Avenue. Believe me, we had to catch the trains, we had to catch the buses, catch the train to the World Trade Center, get off that train and take it right into Brooklyn. It was a lot of traveling, but we brought with us people. Now, at one point, I decided to get a bus. And we brought a bus and 11 cars. And we packed that mosque in Brooklyn. And at that time, the minister told me, the Honorable Minister Farrakhan said, brother, you earned your right stay in Newark, New Jersey. Do not come over here anymore and help me establish that mosque right there in Newark, New Jersey. And that wasn't at that time because we worked hard as we could to help him, Brother Abdul Kareem Muhammad, to get New York City up off the ground. All praise.
Wow. Definitely all praises due to Allah. I remember coming to laborers meetings, and as they would acknowledge different ministers and different people for their work and for what their city was doing, they would always call you up and stand you in front and talk about just the work that you were doing. And you just talked about how the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan saw it as well. Like, what's the secret to your success? Like, what has been the formula that you've been using that has made you so successful that you can help build up the region that you've been over and even the cities you've been over like that?
Well, the key words are hear and obey. That's it. No questions. Get it and get back home and go to work. We used to call it, like Brother Abdul Rahman told me, Allah be pleased, when he said, brother, get on the airplane and push it back, because you want to get it and keep it while it's hot. The minute you slow down or we slow down, it loses its potency and it kind of like slows you down. But when you get back, you got to try to reignite the fire all over again, get it started. So what we did, we kept working as hard as we can, my staff, to get back and make this thing work and keep it going. But at the same time, I took notes. I didn't ask a lot of questions. It was given to us just to follow the instructions and do what we can. We call it working up and beyond the call of duty. Our call of duty, the bottom basis of doing good. That's just the platform. But above that, there's more room to make more efforts and make more gains and make more strides. So you always found us with my group working, all hands on deck. We call that all the time. You had to come and help out. If not, then you was classified as being another part of another group. Then not with us. We worked all the time.
And thank you for those words and for that guidance. Another thing that Brother Carlos suggested that I asked about is the 1981 Savior's Day. So what do you remember about that?
We caught a train. Brother Minister Abdul Kareem Muhammad again wanted us to take a train. And I believe the train started from, if I'm not mistaken, Philadelphia. It came up to Newark, New Jersey. We got on board there, all the cities around that area. We took it to New York. New York boarded on other parts of the Eastern region. We drove, the train rode us into Chicago. If you played the early Savior's Day tape when people are coming off the train, you see believers coming off the train, pushing baby carts and going, getting prepared for Savior's Day. And at the registration table, I'm standing there, but you really couldn't see my face, but we were just getting there, and we was able to help get inside to the Savior's Day convention and get registered properly. Now, at the convention itself, at the Savior's Day address, what I remember was mainly working. We had to help out. We didn't come to sit around and listen to the lecture. We came to help and work and to protect our beloved minister, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. That was always my focus. I remember some things said, but I got back home and got the tape, then I replayed it again. But the main thing was, as Brother Abdul Kareem Muhammad would say, let's protect our beloved minister, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And that was on our mind forefront before we boarded that train from out of New Jersey and Philadelphia, New York City, and parts of Connecticut.
And what else, Brother Carlos also recommended to ask you about the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan speaking at Madison Square Garden. What do you remember?
Well, that was so busy, brother. I remember Brother Abdullah Muhammad, he was at that time the regional minister. And when we were selling tickets, we all did a very good job promoting it. And then that night, when they began to open the doors, I was on the check post. Plate of glass. People just kept pushing. They kept pushing. They kept pushing. And they kept pushing till the glass just shattered. And it
Wow.
like rain. I remember a few brothers came inside and shook off the glass. And I said, no, sir. He said, I want to get checked. He checked them. After that, they kept coming in, they kept coming in, they kept getting checked. And at one point, Brother Khalid Abdul Muhammad, he goes outside, see how far the line went back, but he went outside, pushing his way through the crowd with his jacket on, and he came back in. All the buttons on his jacket was torn off because it was just that tight, and people were just trying to get in. They got in. Garden that night, Brother Minister Abdul Akbar Muhammad had got on the microphone and asked the people, is there any more people inside that is aware of our check procedure? Of course, hands went up. This is the side my wife told me about this part because I was outside checking. And then he said, if you are available, report to the areas who need your help in checking people. It was so many people, brother. And so they checked. I had a trash can, the kind you put paper in. I had a trash can full of knives, a couple of 22s. I mean, they came to help out, but they came strapped just in case something happened to the minister. But we had a can full of stuff. I mean, it was just a lot of people that came in. And listen to this now. They sat in the aisleways that lead to the seats. You couldn't see no aisleways. You could only see nothing but people in the place jam-packed because that was also a point of security. They came to protect our minister. Now listen to this. In the back, in the locker room, some the janitors or some workers there, they started a fire. And in the locker room in the back, the fire was blazing out of the locker. It was Brother Captain Dennis Muhammad, Brother Rasul, Brother Ishmael's brother, myself, and my former captain, Brother Theodore Muhammad. He passed away. May Allah be pleased with him. We put the fire out. What they was doing then, Brother Leonard Farrakhan had told the people in the back, listen, you call that fire department, when they come down that street, tell them to turn them sirens right off, because what would happen would cause a panic. You can hear the sirens from loud, they go right down to, they just like pet and tap their way into to see what was going on. Nothing happened. As a matter of fact, the smoke came to the entrance of the auditorium and came back, and it never even went inside. They were trying their best to destroy that night, and it didn't happen.
Wow.
At the end, we had to get them to take a loose the bleacher stand somewhere, and then at the same time, some of the white guys on the forklift had the sisters up on platforms trying to make them fall, and you knew what happened. Like, you know what happened.
Gotcha. We thank you for sharing that history. And we know, like, from as you're talking, you started off in Newark, but now you are in DC. So
yes, sir.
How was that transition? Like, not only, it's a three-part question. How did the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan inform you that he wanted you to now take on that new that new responsibility in DC? And how was that transition for you leaving Newark, going to DC, and for your family?
It was very interesting. We had a meeting at Sister Karima's home in New York City. And those that was going to be changed, and it was actually November 19th of 1997. And that we all had put our hands together on top of each other. We gave a vow that we was going to continue to work and what the changes would be. But before that, on November 17th, I was in Southern State Prison teaching. I got a call to ask me to come to the palace. And before the 19th, I was asked to see if I would take the position. I said, I'll take it and do the very best I could. Then the 19th came, we came together and we made our vow. Now that night of the 19th, we was in a school Brother Ben Chavez spoke, Brother Conrad spoke, and somebody else spoke, but I didn't. I wasn't allowed to speak. I sat back and just, yes, sir, listen, I ain't got to say nothing. But when I got back to Newark that night, many of the believers kind of, they was happy, but some of them was kind of like lost. What we going? But at the same time, I had to pack up and go to Washington, D.C. I went there on a Wednesday and came back home on a Monday night after class. I did that for like 6 months before I found a place to live and moved to Washington, D.C. And so the transition was kind of awkward, but it helped me to understand what the working of making a move would be like. And I accepted it all. Now, I began to work immediately in Washington, D.C. and getting mosque number 4 back up to where it should be. And with a year or two, we made that mosque again the #1 mosque in the nation. And so Muhammad's mosque number 4 has always been a great mosque to me and great potential, because in the past it was always a great mosque. But I wanted to take it higher. We wanted to make more progress. We had a place called the Lincoln Theater. As a matter of fact, during this month, August the 30th, 1998, and the place held 1,250 people. I said, I'm gonna give it a shot. I'm gonna try to pack this place. So I talked to Minister Abdul Rahman Muhammad again, may Allah be pleased with me. He said, brother, this is what you do. He said, whatever you did to bring Minister Farrakhan to your city, you do the same for yourself. It's okay. I'll try it. I did it. It's when you come out to greet the people, you speak that day, come out with a white suit on and go to the right side of the awesome and bow and go to the left side of the back. It all worked. We brought buses throughout the city, bringing Black folks to their meeting. We had a nice meeting, and we attracted also the politicians. It was called, the topic I taught on that day was the need for right leadership, and people poured out. So that was the beginning of a great step for me in the city. But however, after that, you get used to doing work. So therefore, at that time, the exchange for me to get used to the believers and the believers used to me, it kind of made its own shifts in terms of trying to get together to learn how each of us work together. And that was a part of my own development and growing. And right now we're doing a whole lot better, but at the same time, these are the chances you're going to have to take to make a mosque better, but you just can't stop. Again, you have to obey the minister, obey the executive council, obey his national officials. If you don't do that, you're out of luck with that on your own. That's part of my history with that. And there's many more things that took place. The Million Family March, the Millions More Movement, 10-10-15, all of that was initially kind of like set up and put in my hands, along with our protocol director here in Washington, D.C., Sister Brenda Muhammad. We had to go to these meetings and just keep making things happen, because Chicago, the national laborers there were actually asking us to get it started and get it going, and we did just that. Took a lot of we had to get it done. So if you're a worker, it's going to stand out. You can't be lazy and expect to make progress.
What you mentioned the 10-10-15, the Millions More movement, those marches, and you were there. What were some of the other behind the scene things you experienced in working to make those, helping to make those gatherings a success, and helping to do the groundwork?
Well, we had to, there's some things I can share, and I think there's some things I will not share, but
yes, sir.
People, all the pastors as I could possibly meet with, all the activist groups, you had to touch everybody. And to go and meet with and their staff at that time and get their support, all of that was important. And there were some other officials of the District of Columbia we had to meet with and get that going. But at the same time, it was cities nearby in the Mid-Atlantic that came by and gave us a hand. Of course, that's Muhammad's Mosque number 6, with student minister Brother Carlos Muhammad, and Muhammad's Mosque number 24, with student minister Brother Tracy Muhammad, that always came with their believers, because right there was those three mosques, number 4, 24, number 6, we all came in. It was a great effort to help us get it going. There's many, many more steps to that, but it's a lot of internal work. But the main thing is the day up, there was no time for relaxing. I couldn't sit back and lay back. I had a nice hotel room for the Million Family March. I slept in there for 45 minutes and got right back. That's how it was, because you had to work. You couldn't go back and tell them what you didn't do. You had to get it done. Get it done.
Beautiful. We know you started off, you said how you were first known as Brother Anthony. So can you talk about how you came, how the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan gave you the holy name Abdul Khadir?
Yes, one day I was in Buffalo, New York, and I was hanging my jacket on the back of the door. And I just see him sitting down in a chair. And so he says, "Brother, I have a name for you." And I who he's talking to. He said, "He's talking to Brother Anthony." I said, "Me?" He said, "Yes, sir." He Mr. Farrakhan. I said, "Yes, sir." So he gave me some instructions again. He said, "I want you to go back to Newark and help Councilman Sharp James become mayor of Newark, New Jersey." Went right back and took care of that. He became mayor. And he took it from Kenneth Gibson, who was the first Black mayor of Newark, New Jersey. I hope I'm making it correctly. I think I am.
Yeah.
When Sharp James got elected, you know, he helped us out with a couple of coins, and we paid the brothers equally share, and we got him in the office. Then after that, it was more tests given to me to get done for the medicine. So it was almost like 2 years, maybe some change. I just was patient. I didn't ask him, remind him the name. No, I ain't say nothing. I just kept working, and I just kept working. During this, I think it was Tawana Broadley in Newburgh, New York. I don't think I think I have my name then, maybe not. But anyway, we drove back from Newburgh, New York to go to Mosque number 7. I got word, no, you go back to Newark. And everybody, all the ministers, they going to enjoy themselves with the minister. I had to go back to Newark. I didn't know why. He said, when you get done teaching, bring your report over to New York, and I'd like to meet with you. And at that time, brother, our attendance back then was nice. We had about, on Sundays, 500 people coming out on Sundays. Number 2 pour was off the hook. You know, we had obligatory charity. It was nice. So he said, this is why I sent you back. Your city is like an anchor for our nation. In other words, kind of like dependent on us, plus with other strong cities in the nation. So it was February, the day after Savior's Day, 1988. We're inside the Final Call building. And he was talking, and you know me, I'm just sitting there, and I believe he asked me to come up. And he didn't say my name, he didn't say Brother Anthony. So at that time, my former captain, may Allah be pleased with Brother Theodore, he nudged me in my back. He's talking, he said, "Me?" He said, "Yes, brother, come up front." And in front of everybody, he blessed me with the name Abdul Khadir Muhammad.
Go ahead, take your time, brother.
It's all right, but to get that from him, I wasn't expecting it. It was a mind blower. And then the name itself, I never heard of that name before. I heard the ones everybody try to change the name of it and call it Khadir. There's no such thing as Khadir, or they call the Holy Quran Quran. And he said, he gave me the way to spell it. K-H. I thought it was the one that spelled Q-A-A-D-I-R. I know. He said, no, yours is K-H-A-D-I-R. And he had to find that in the Holy Quran in Surah 18, chapter 18. But that was a blessed day, and I always will remember that day.
And Khadir, what's the meaning of Khadir?
Well, Khadir, I mean, he gave it to me. He did a tape one time. I had a barber shop. I used to cut hair a lot. And he made a tape about one who was able. He was talking about Khadir. I don't know which Khadir he's talking about. Could be somebody else. And then he said Jesus was not a carpenter. And then he said Jesus was not a barber. I was confused. So a couple of months went by, and I asked him about the speech he made. He said, brother, I was talking to you. I said, wow. It means one who was able. At the same time, I don't want you becoming a barber now. You got to do. So I caught on to that. But I also learned from reading the Holy Quran, it means one that is able to, one who's able, growth with time, also the green one. So I may say it don't mean that. Look in your Holy Qurans, Abdul Yusuf Ali says the green one. As a matter of fact, it's called. At the same time, you grow with time if you're green. I'm growing with time, and time permits me to grow. And along that same avenue of growing, there's trials and tribulations that overcome with mainly with my health, but I'm still here.
Praise be to Allah. Have you ever, you talk about help and stuff like that, have you ever personally witnessed the Honorable Minister healing power that have allowed the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan to heal someone, or someone healed from the guidance of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan? If so, can you share?
Yes, I can. Yes, I can. Wilson Good was running for mayor of Philadelphia back in the 80s. It was 82, I think, around that time, 83 to be elected in 84. And I had spoken to Brother Abdul Kareem Muhammad, and I told him that my wife may not make it. She was pregnant. I didn't know anything about the cesarean births, but you only can have, I think, 3 of them. 4th one is dangerous. I came in, and Brother Kareem looked at the minister. He said, is this him? He said, yeah, that's him. He told me to sit down. He said, brother, don't you worry. She's going to make it, and you're newborn. This is just before. 6 months before. So the day my son was born, November 28th, I think it is, 1983, I go inside Columbus Hospital on 13th Street, Newark, New Jersey. When I couldn't go upstairs, I had to wait. And downstairs comes this doctor. I won't say his name. He may not want it to be said. He said, come in the hallway. He had on his white mask, the white cloth coverings over his shoes, his white jacket on. He said to me, I hope I have it right, your wife is okay. And he said, you have another son. He said, but who do you know?
Wow.
Somebody prayed for your wife, prayed for you, prayed for your son. Then he said, something came through my hands.
Wow.
He said, it took me and another doctor to put your wife back together again. He said, you know, they prayed for you. And he said, you can see it now. She's up on, I forgot what floor it was. come upstairs now, and I turn the corner. My wife is in the bed, she's brushing her teeth. She tells me, "What's wrong with you?" But normally you'd be out of it. You'd be up under the medicine. But she was up, she was bright. She was just up. I had to go back downstairs real quick. I had to get away from her. Because very rough moment for me that time. But at the same time, this is the witnessing power of our brother. And at that time, I began to know who he is at that time. For certain. After that, don't around me with him. I don't want to play no games. I'm gonna obey what he say do, and that's it. Now he's being known what he is, but I kind of had a peep of it back then. See, brother name is he calls himself, he's a lost found brother, but he's been a Nation of Islam back in the day. But he calls himself, he goes by the name Al Malik. Okay, that's what he calls himself. The minister does the same. He was crippled. He wore those sleeve aluminum crutches. He's walking through the parking lot at Union Temple Baptist Church, where the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan frequently visits. So we in the parking lot, the Honorable Louis Farrakhan grabs the brother around the waist. I couldn't hear what he was saying to him, not too close by, but I heard him say, "When I see you again, I want to see you walking." At that time, he came back and he wasn't walking. He did it again. I get a call from Malik. We talk on the phone. He says, "Khadir, just wait 1 second. I gotta go make a run." He gets up and he walks. And he comes back. He said, "Man, I'm walking." And I didn't know what he meant by that. But ever since then, the brother's been walking. He never used those crutches again. And see, again, another display of the power of prayer for my brother. Twice, but definitely. And one time he did it for a lady in, a young MTT in New Brunswick, New Jersey. And I asked him when he got done, "Do you think I can do something like that?" He said, "Yes, you can. You have to be very, 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 very sincere in your prayers." So we shouldn't doubt this teaching. We should never let it go.
What you mentioned, you said, and thank you for those testimonies, because those are the type of things that we have to get on record. And you are eyewitness, and you saw that, so you bearing witness, and you are a man of character. You mentioned, you said something about a young sister in Newark. Can you share that? You can't go into that about what was her situation and how the minister helped.
What you mean? But I said New Brunswick. I meant to say
New Brunswick. Okay, there was a sister. Yeah, New Brunswick.
Yeah, she had cancer, but she was about to leave that day, and she had another, I think, 30 to 45 days, and she lived a little longer. But and I heard him praying for her. I said, "Wow, this is how you do it." I said, "Come on, now listen." I said, "Nah, I can do this. I know what to say." What do you do? What feeling you have in your body? And I kind of got it. I kind of how to do it. Yeah. Makes me more convincing to remain with the Nation of Islam and to believe. It will be a hard time trying to get rid of me. Hopefully, I can be here when he get back.
Praise be to Allah. So we have 3 more questions. We'll get ready to close out. Like, you've had many opportunities of being around the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. What would be one of your most memorable moments of being around the minister, and why does that moment stand out?
All of them are the most memorable, brother. It's so many that I can talk about is so many. From the day I met DC, we drove from New Jersey down to DC, pick him up back in 1979. I'm in the car with him. I'm like, wow, you know, we talking about the little group in East Orange at that time, gave me pointers on how to keep it going. Oh, we received the award in Los Angeles that time, having the best mosque in the nation. That was a very touching moment. And he gave the captain at that time, in Newark with me, Brother Majid, his name. And then again, we are working with him for many times in many places right here in Washington, D.C., that we witnessed him giving us instructions very, very well. We brought the mosque. We began to purchase it. He says, brother, I want you to get the believers out of this mosque on Kenilworth Avenue and get them a better place. Yes, sir. I looked around and found a place. We found the spot we have right now. To get the place, I said, we don't want that spot right there. So I had, at that time, a tea party. If any sisters listening, we had a tea party. You brought your own tea bag, Tetley tea bag, Lipton tea bag, peppermint tea bag, green tea. But the catch was, in order to take part of this effort, you had to give $1,000 for a cup of tea. And that night at a brother's house, we had 23 people there. I left out there with $23,000.
Wow.
Following Wednesday, did the same thing. And then he got word, the minister got word about it. He said, what you doing, brother? He said, I like that. I'm going to send some. We got the church to be our mosque. This pastor said, no, he got it. I said, no, brother. I put in my pocket. Here's the deed. Here's the paperwork right here in my hand. He said, wow, how did you do that? I obeyed what the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said for me to do. Every time you obey him, guess what's attached to it? The blessings of Master Fard Muhammad, the blessings of the most honorable Muhammad, like right now. They both are alive, but they're waiting for us to help the minister out. They're waiting for us to get busy. We have to work hard as we can to get this back up. So the Bible talks about 7,000 in the book of Kings and Romans 7,000 knees that did not bend. Which means they didn't bend to bow, B-A-A-L, because we are supposed to eat right every day, pray 5 times a day. All the requirements mean that we didn't bend to Satan's ways. How many of us today are trying to do that? Eat 1 meal a day, you know, and refrain from, you know, watch out, Khadir, a little word you say every now and then. You got to get it right because, see, we have to stand strong for him. And if we don't, then we know that at any invitation of Satan, his desires can pull us away from that part. He needs to have, again, another military in the nation of Islam. Brothers that will, obedience is inside the military. Both brother and sister side. Yes, sir.
Beautiful, beautiful. I want you to think about this. You know, as you talked about how the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is such a beautiful human being who positively impacts, you know, nearly everybody who's able to be in his presence, even if they're just touched, even if they're not in his presence physically, just the word that reaches them. He's a man of many great qualities by Allah's grace. What are 3 qualities that the minister possesses that stands out to you? And have there been some times where you've seen him demonstrate those qualities?
Yes, yes. One day I was with him in Durham, North Carolina, just him and I in the room. And I said to him, I said, Brother Minister, I just came to help. He said, so did I. Let's keep working. That's the sign of humility. And I'm trying to be easy. And he said, no, in other words, you ain't going nowhere, brother. If I didn't leave, you're not going to leave. Let's keep working. And I wasn't trying to go. I just want to just learn more. Okay. One day I got in the car. I tried to get in the car was picking him up at the airport. He got in, he locked the door. He said, go around. I got in the car. He said, brother, never crawl over the furniture of a man that he's paying money on. I said to myself, he said, yes, this car he's making payments on and his back seat is furniture. In other words, respect the man's car. I learned that lesson. And to this, I get in people's brothers and sisters' cars, move the seat up. I said, no, brother, I'll wait till you say, I'm not gonna move this man's chair. This is his car. I'm gonna hit the wrong, come off the rack. I've been using one word throughout the whole time we've been talking, that's obedience.
Yes, sir, you have.
Obedience. And the last one I like to say to you, it's really 4 of them, a loving warrior. A loving warrior is he. That's a quality of a man that we have with us today, a loving warrior. I'm telling you what I know. I know that part about him very well. We have to learn how to follow his footsteps. As a matter of fact, to become a follower, you drop your foot right in the same spot where he drops his at. When he lifts up, you put your foot in the same spot. That's following him. Don't get ahead of him. You follow him. And that's what I'm trying to do as I quarantine in my home to get back on track myself. And this is what we all should be striving to do, become better followers of his, because he don't want to lose none of us. We got to get the people onto his shoulders, get them across the river to help the most honorable Elijah Muhammad and the honorable Minister Farrakhan. That's our job as believers and followers.
Yes, sir. And in closing, because we hit all of the questions and thoroughly enjoyed your testimony, was there any question I didn't ask? Or is there anything else that you want to share that I didn't get a chance to bring out? You didn't get a chance to bring out because I didn't ask the question. If so, you have this moment right now.
Yeah, I'm very thankful that you would have me come on. There's many times I don't do these type of interviews because I want to be careful what I say. So Lord, that I ain't say anything to throw us off. And I want to be able to continue to help our beloved ministers. We all should strive to do that and live right, brothers and sisters. Don't, when he makes his move to go to the Father, we can't have boyfriends, sisters. Brothers, we can't have girlfriends. There's no smoking of any sort. There's no drinking of any type of drink that will make you feel better. We didn't do that when he was here. We shouldn't do that when he leaves. And see, that is what contributed to the fall back then. NFA, never fall again. Our word has to be bond. And in the bonding is that if I give it to you, so if I fail to give my word to you, you are to remind me, because we made a compact, to say, Brother Khadir, you gave me a word. Oh, I forgot about that. Thanks for the reminder. That's how you have word is bond. The bond is that makes us understand we have to keep each other up on the word and let's do what's right. So I thank you. I pray Allah.
We thank you.
That
thank you, brother. You shared, it was very good. And every one of these testimonies has its own uniqueness and is very good. And the believers are enjoying it on Facebook and they're enjoying it on Zoom. And inshallah, I'll send you the comments. So as we close, we thank you again. And I want to tell those who are watching on Facebook, we thank you for tuning in. Now what we need you all to do, you all are hitting the hearts and all of the signs showing that you enjoyed this interview. Can you take some time and type what stood out to you? What part of our brother's testimony stood out to you and why? So if you can leave those comments, we will greatly, greatly, greatly appreciate it. So take the time out before you log off, those brothers and sisters. And for those brothers and sisters who are on Zoom, if you send me something, I'll send our brother Khadir. I'll send our brother Khadir the actual feedback while you all are on Zoom. But for those people that are on Facebook, continue to, I'm about to send you some stuff right now, brother Khadir. I think you'll be able to see it. continue to leave y'all comments. What did you think? I see our brother Eamon from Durham. He says, brother is strong and humble at the same time. This is good advice he's closing out with. So that's our brother. Now I'm about to send you something from this brother Tyrone. He said this is Sister Elise. Thank you both for very much for that inspiring and informative and compelling sharing. Thank you. There's a brother, his name is Brother Kenneth. He had mentioned that he, I think he's in Atlanta now. He makes bow ties,
Yes.
but you as well.
Yes,
and there was someone who said that Minister Khadir held a prayer vigil for my husband, student minister Michael Muhammad, and he said he is blessed with healing. So that's someone who actually said that. And so as they keep coming in, my brother, I'm going to make sure I send you these. And for those people who are watching, or here's somebody else said, this is from Brother John. They're sending so many. Say, Brother Khadir has been the father for me and many brothers in Jersey and DC, and we never had a strong example of leadership and follow of the minister. My wife and I use his union as our example. That's from Brother John Muhammad. And let me see, somebody else is coming. That's okay, this is from sister by the name of Mariam. I appreciate your powerful and informative words. Brought me back when I joined the Nation of Islam in the 70s. Mariam Bey, formerly Mary 34X. And people are still joining on, even though we are about to leave. So thank you, brother Khadir. We thoroughly enjoyed it. And let me get ready to close out with these announcements again. And for those people who are on Facebook, remember what we're asking you to please leave your comments. Please leave your comments so we can get the feedback and what you actually enjoy. And for those who are here, we want to say again on, inshallah, on next Sunday. But before we get this, we're encouraging people to help us with this effort to pay off our mosque. You can see where it says Cash App, $ mosque number 46, and you can go on our website and actually donate as well. And inshallah, on next Sunday, we have our sister Wendy Muhammad. She's a multi-million-dollar business developer, and she is a sister that's helping she's over the restoration of this home that was owned by the Most High Elijah Muhammad that's currently next to the palace in Chicago. She'll be here, inshallah, on next Sunday at 2 p.m. And as we said, we have a very special broadcast on this coming Tuesday at 7:30. On this coming Tuesday at 7:30 with our General Counsel, Brother Student Minister, Brother Abdul Arif Muhammad. So for those who are on, we thank you all. Continue to keep leaving comments. Let me share these other ones with you. Wow, his sister said, this is Sister Crystal. She says, all praises due to Allah. Brother Khadir is the epitome of work. I came under Brother Khadir in our mosque, and we work together all the time under his guidance. And I'm sending that one to you, Brother Khadir. Here's somebody else, Sister Yolanda. They coming in. She says, and thank you, Brother Khadir, for sharing your history. This touched me dearly. We needed your words of inspiration and rejuvenation. They sending so many, I'm catching them while they come. We got, cause see on Zoom, I can't, once I close it down, I don't know how to go back and get these. So that's why I'm taking the time to make sure you get them. Sister just said, his testimony was powerful and insightful and one that needs to be heard. He is a faithful servant of the Most High Elijah Muhammad and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. So thank you, dear family. Thank you, Brother Khadir. And I'm gonna, if you don't mind, when I get them off of Facebook, can I text you the comments or,
yes,
or you want me to email?
You can do it
Okay.
however you want to do it. Text or email.
Thank you, brother. And we really enjoyed your testimony, your powerful testimony. And may Allah continue to bless you. And thank you. You're looking sharp, man. I love that bow tie and that suit. Assalamu alaikum.
Islam. I can leave.